Hi. So I'm starting a new series called What's All the Buzz About? And right now it's What's All the Buzz About Homeschooling. And I've been doing some really fun interviews, some really informative interviews with some homeschooling parents that I think you're really going to love. I've already released one on my page. And so if you're thinking about homeschooling, go there and watch that one. That one's with Stephanie Green. Today I interviewed Tasha Dixon and Lee Jean Stanger, and I have a couple more interviews coming up soon. And if you've been thinking about homeschooling, you're going to want to watch these videos because they are so informative. These mothers have been in the trenches here for a while, and they have some really wonderful topics that I think you're going to want to know about if you're thinking about homeschooling. Um, I was remembering when I started homeschooling, and this was like 16, 17 years ago, something like that. And I've been thinking about it actually for a while before that. And it just really hadn't had um, the courage to really jump off and to really start homeschooling. Um, and I just thought it was like really cool. And so, I would pick my son up from preschool and then on Wednesdays because he like only had half a day, or maybe it was kindergarten. And I take all my little kids and we would pretend that like we were homeschooling. I mean, I guess we kind of were, but I called it Homeschool Wednesday. And we'd pick him up and we'd go do something really fun like in the canyon. And so I was kind of getting my feet wet a little bit there. And I was talking about it one day with a friend, and she was like, "Yeah, I think that would be really fun to homeschool too." And so I think that'd be a good thing, but I don't know. And we both were just talking about it, and this was back when not very many people homeschooled. We didn't have all these people around us that were homeschooling then, like we do now. There's lots of people, and there's co-ops, and there's all these things. So we decided we were going to homeschool together, or we were going to start off together. We are going to get off the fence, and we were either going to choose one side or the other. And so we decided that we were going to jump off together. And I'm not sure. It seems like maybe she decided not to that year, but then she did after that. Is that right, Sally? um, and so it was just I homeschooled that first year. I got up the courage to do it. I found resources and I went to conferences. Conferences were a big thing then that for people who were homeschooling. And actually there were a lot of people that were there at this homeschool conference. And and I think that I talked to some people had that were homeschooling, but there weren't very many people, and there weren't any co-ops. We needed to, my friend and I needed to start park days at the park, and also that's kind of just how we got started. And actually, and I loved it, and we just kind of went from there uh, with our kids. We did lots of adventures and things. Um, so just to let you know a little bit about what we do in our homeschool group, and our personal homeschool, our family, um, I've really used an eclectic blend of many kinds of resources over the years. Um, Everything from Charlotte Mason to TJ Ed, big lists of the most wonderful classic literature. That's something that we use a lot. My kids read a lot. Um, and I really feel like that's a really important part of their education, the books and all. So if you want to find some really great book lists, there's The Good and the Beautiful, um, and there's an TJ Ed, Thomas Jefferson Education, has a really great book list. And those are books that I feel are really good ones for our family, like there's no weird stuff. My mother-in-law, my kid's grandma, is a retired librarian, and she was able to get us lots of books. So we have collected a huge library of books, of just like the best kinds of books, and hopefully, just even our grandchildren will be able to use those books one day. Um, but another thing that we've used a lot is just the outdoors, and it's one of my favorites. I would always just imagine having a classroom of kids, back when I was a kid, and we would be looking at these bird nests, and we'd be, just doing all these kinds of things, and I never really thought that it would be my own kids that I would get to mentor, and I love it. I became a well, I did, my degree is in elementary education, but I think mainly there's a lot of things that I've had to unlearn. A lot of what I learned was just classroom management through college, which isn't very helpful for for what I'm doing now. In a way, it's been a little bit of a hindrance. Um, let's see. Let me just turn this off so I don't keep. I need to turn that back on. I have a client due really soon, a doula client, and I do not want to miss her call. So I'm so excited for her. But anyway, yes, I think just a lot of things that I've had to kind of unlearn because homeschooling is not the same as public schooling. Watch the videos. It's some really great videos if you're interested in homeschooling, if you've thought about it at all. And I know that a lot of people have thought about it because of um the whole COVID thing and not being sure if kids are going to be going back to school in the fall. Maybe you've had a taste of homeschooling and it's not been so bad. And maybe it has. Uh, Crisis schooling isn't the same as homeschooling, and I've talked a little bit about that in some posts. It's so much different. I don't know how everyone's doing it, how everyone did it this last semester with having to crisis school. Like, I just don't know how you've been doing it. I think that I would just want to run away and not do it, but then I'd be afraid that my kids would get behind and but homeschooling is so much different and not something that you have to worry about your kids are getting behind. Oh, it's just like this whole paradigm shift. Watch the videos that are coming up and the ones that are already out. Okay, so back to what we do with our own homeschool. Some other things that we've done besides, well, so outdoors, which is one of my favorites. Sometimes we would pretend to be escaping from Czechoslovakia, and we'd get some like history in there and things. We'd be out with our sticks and our binoculars, our cameras, our nature journals, up in the canyons in Logan Canyon, or walking along the canals in the high grass, maybe hunting for tigers, uh, floating down the canal, pretending that it was the Amazon River. And those are things that we did when my boys were little. We've had boys first. Both of them are graduated. They have their homeschool diplomas. You can write your children's own homeschool diplomas because homeschool really is a legitimate school. You sign an affidavit. It depends on where you are. In Utah, we had to sign an affidavit every year, and in Idaho, you just sign once. And that's where we live now. So there's lots of just some different things to know. And, it's good to have a mentor and to have some different mentors along the way. And I'm happy to help you with that. Just contact me. But let's see. I love having really solid devotional in the morning. That's something that we can do. We do the Come Follow Me program. That's something that we can do because we have time to do it. And I get my kids up. They've got to be ready. They've got to be dressed. That's just something in our home. We don't homeschool in our pajamas. That's just us. But we don't have any babies either. And sometimes the baby is what you're going to learn about for a while. Um, but that's something that we do. We get up and we have our devotional. We get our chores done, our morning things done, and then we start, well, depending on what the day is. Sometimes we have a co-op that we're doing. We do that on Tuesdays, one on Tuesdays and one on Thursdays. Um, if you know me, I just kind of get off on tangents sometimes. But just to kind of give you an idea of what we do every morning, we have a devotional almost every morning. That's one of my favorite parts of homeschooling, that we can sit down and we can study the scriptures together. We sing together, we pray together, and so that's how we start out our day. Um, like I said, we have some great homeschool support groups here too, where we get together once a week, and the kids attend classes that are taught by the parents. For the older group, these parents are trained. They have Lemmy training, and then they mentor. Oh, I love our groups. Just to talk a little bit about our Commonwealth group. Our children, our daughters are patriots, and they love history. Oh, there's so many different things. They love Shakespeare and classical literature. They they read they read big books, like big classic books. They love math and science, and a lot of this has come because they've been inspired by this Commonwealth group. Um, let's see, we another favorite time of day that we have is when we're like all sitting on the couch together, and I'm reading aloud to my daughters. What we do during some of those times is, as I'm reading, the girls will be doing handwork, and we did this with the boys also. One of them crocheted a gun holder. Another one, I have those that love to draw, so they'll be drawing. We often do things. Let's see, they're often doing things like, one daughter has been cutting out. She cut out denim quilt squares this last semester or so, and was piecing them together for a quilt. She they made big pom poms that we made a banner out of. That was kind of fun. Um, they've One daughter's been carving a bear out of wood. Another one gets paint all over the laminate floor. She loves to paint. She glues things on the floor. I mean, she glues things together, hopefully with paper underneath her. That hasn't always been the case. But they just get really creative. One of my daughters is making these cute little stuffed animals for the fair. She's been making rabbits, and so sometimes they make things for the fair, things like that. One daughter drew a huge fish out of this big white paper that we had for her birthday, and then she colored them and put them up all over. And then after that, she wrote. She learned about each of the fish and all. So and then she wrote little reports that she put up, and that helped get her to write, because she's a little bit of a reluctant writer, and that was really helpful. But we we have different cards that we learn from, different history cards about history of the United States, and I pull one out and I say, "What happened here?" And then they try to guess, and on this in this year, on this date, um, and we've traveled to some of these places because we don't have the school schedule. We can just take off a lot of times when we want to, and we'll go to. We've been to lately. We went to Massachusetts. We found some amazing historical places there. Washington D.C. we've been to, and Virginia. Oh, amazing places. And we've been able to find the means to be able to do that, because I think because it was right. And then those means come to you when you decide to do something. We've been to Boston, and oh, to Maine and Vermont when the leaves were out. That was just an amazing day that we were driving down the road through these beautiful leaves and the mists, and we came upon a place that blew that this man like blows glass. And it's so just along, like we just the world is our classroom. That's what I tell my kids, and that's what they do. So like we don't ever take a break from our studies because even though we have different seasons and different things that we do, right now we're not doing a whole lot of things other than maybe the kids have their own books that they're reading and things like that. But we're always learning. And so one of the books that we've been reading is Lucy Mack Smith's autobiography about her son, which is also then I guess a biography, but about her son Joseph Smith, and that's been an amazing, beautiful book where we've learned so much about the history of our church. And we really enjoyed that and learned so many things and so many different parts and intricacies that have really built our testimonies in the Savior, Jesus Christ, and also in Joseph Smith and the work that he brought forth in the Book of Mormon and all. But and so you can do that. You can bring your own religion, your own beliefs, your own things that you see are important for your children to learn about, that you're inspired are what your children need to learn about. And just overall, we live as a family together in a normal family setting, learning together and from one another. We have time to garden together, to incubate eggs as a science project, to go to the kitchen and do a science project. If we want to bake together, or maybe one girl, one boy, my boys cooked and baked. They learned how to do these things too, but to learn to do these things on their own, to go to the piano and play, to see friends. There's time to do these things. There's time to. We did clogging for a long time. Um, our kids have been in plays. There's just all these different kinds of things that I feel like that we have more time because we don't have a lot of homework and things that we can be doing together. And anyway, that was just a little bit about homeschooling, some things that have been on my mind. And so go and watch the different videos that I've been just putting together for you to just kind of investigate whether homeschooling is something that is right for you. And it's not right for everyone, but maybe maybe it is, and maybe it's something that you would really really love doing, like I do, and a lot of my friends love doing. Um, and if you've tried it before and you try to do it the public school way, you know, maybe look into it again. It might be something that might be right for you. And I know a lot of people have children who are just geniuses at a lot of things, or that have learning disabilities, or that have maybe a mixture of both. And they've just decided that they're going to jump off. They're going to homeschool. They're going to do this, and they learn about it during the summer. This is a great time to be learning about it and investigating. So I just really love being a part of my children's lives. I think that I just feel so much more natural than sending them away. And I was public schooled, and I think most of us were. And like we feel like we've turned out all right. Maybe we don't. Maybe we love learning. Maybe that kind of got a little bit squelched, where we were required to do so many things that maybe we weren't very interested in, which I believe that sometimes it's important to require, but if we can inspire, that's just that an upper level too. And we're the ones who love our children the best. We're the ones who are willing to make those sacrifices. We're the ones that are able to give them that individual attention that we all know that we're just not able to really um, necessarily get for our children from the public school system. As wonderful as there are teachers out there, they're not always really able to give that one-on-one as much as at least as that we can on a day-to-day basis when we're learning together, when we're in their car together, going somewhere, when we're cooking together or sitting on the couch when we're just discussing things and we have a couple of hours to spend with our kids possibly in a day. Um, so those are just some of the things that I love about it, about homeschooling, and some of the things that we do in our homeschool. There's lots more, but just a little bit right there. And yes, I hope that this has been helpful. So, thanks for listening.